All right, hello, and welcome to the Twisted Marsh guide. I'm making this a little bit late since I was quite busy yesterday, but I finally got to doing it, and I will be covering. First of all, I'll cover the team comps that you should strive for. Of course, a few general tips later on, and in the end, I'll look over the recording of the day that I've done on release day. And shout out to these two people who helped me out to get a really nice run for it. And I'll cover each of the boss's attacks in more detail and what to do to avoid them and basically successfully complete the run. So, starting with team comps, basically these are the units you will need, and I'm talking about not just you but in the team in general for all three of you. So whether one person brings enough of these units or everyone brings one each is up to you, but basically each of the raid parties should have healers first of all. So my recommendation would be going with two minimum, but you to be safe you can go for three. For this one we actually had I believe it's four, right? So we have Annabelle. I brought the light howl, and it looks like the Nat 6 guy brought both the water and the fire oracles. So we have more than enough heals in this comp. Also, you will need a defense breaker, since if you do not beat the force quite fast, he will start gaining additional damage every 30 seconds, and at some point it will be actually pretty much impossible to beat. So make sure that you have some defense break. In this case we do have two wind orbias, which is probably the best option for defense breaks there is. We have the Anvil as well as the Argent who does defense break, I believe, and these are more than enough. I do not recommend bringing damage taken up, as we'll discuss further on that the boss actually transfers debuffs in some of his attacks, and if you do receive all those debuffs including defense break and damage taken up, it could be a little bit scary. But yeah, so the defense breaker, make sure to not forget that. And for the best choices in my opinion, it's the Annabelle. Argen is another one since he does decent damage as well. Wind Orbia, by far the best and probably the easiest to obtain as long as you have Orbia players in your team, and many more that you may find from your box. I'm actually not sure what the Dark Ram does, whether he does defense break or not, but oh, actually, it looks like the Fire Valkyrie we have also does defense break. I'm not sure if she's too good here, but yeah. The third string you need is a buff stripper. So since the boss can steal some buffs, you will need a stripper to steal those, especially if you have some immunity on your team. So for us, it looks like we did have a Juno as well as two Orbias who can switch to light. So we had these strips covered. You won't need a lot of strips, but it's definitely useful to have those. And for options, of course, the Light Orbia, the Juno, maybe even a Sekhmet are all good options for it. And especially Juno, I'd say Juno is like the SSS tier unit in this dungeon, since she does cleanse all of the debuffs if they get transferred to you. She both strips and heals, so I feel like she's probably one of the best units in the game for this dungeon. And of course, after that, you do need some damage. The damage options are, of course, completely up to you. As long as it does damage, it works. So for us, we had, of course, two Orbias. I bought a Karambit. This person bought a Dark Vampire, who I believe is a decent damage dealer, and a Wind Vampire on the other team. And some important tips on what not to bring, since this can bite you back. So first of all, try to not take any heal block unless you have a good cleanser like a Juno or something like that. If you do apply a heal block on the boss and the boss transfers the debuffs to you, if you do not have a way to cleanse that heal block, you will be in a lot of trouble, and pretty much the only way to cleanse that debuff will be with Juno, since the boss usually has like 5 to 10 debuffs, and if you use a unit that only cleanses 1 or 2, you're most likely not gonna be able to cleanse that heal block. So make sure to either not have heal block or have a unit like Juno who can cleanse all debuff at once. And the second important point is to not bring any attack buff into this dungeon. So units like a Bastet, Shanna, anything like that should not be used. This is because if the boss receives attack buffs, you're potentially looking at one-shots from it. So try to not take attack buff and instead go for stuff like damage taken up debuffs. Or you can go for various buffs like attack speed buff and stuff like that. And jumping into some general tips. So first of all, you should have a maxed skill that allows you to switch monsters. So basically, whenever you click on one of these two monsters, there is a summoner skill which allows you to increase the, or rather decrease the cooldown of this switching ability. So I think the maximum upgrade you can do is 1 second cooldown, so make sure to have that as you will be switching a lot here. Second thing is, of course, it's a bit hidden behind the bar, but basically, as with any dungeon, make sure that you have your monster set to follow you at all times, as there will be a lot of dodging involved in this dungeon. Third tip, have enough mana to do one heal at all times. So if you are using something like a Light Howl, his main healing ability costs 4 mana, so regardless of what you do, always make sure to have 4 mana available, and you can spend the rest on whatever skill you want, as the damage sometimes comes really unpredictably and you will need to do an emergency heal if needed. Otherwise, if you do not have enough mana, there's a good chance you might not be able to heal enough, and if that happens with a few of your teammates, you're potentially looking at a failed run. And the last tip, this one I found that it might work for some, but if you have a unit that does not really care about his skills a lot, so for me, I found that Karambit, I mean, his main damage comes from basic attacks for me, so the skills he uses are not too important. So for the majority of the battles where you do not need to do a heal to heal up, try to use your Karambit as a soul link monster, since that way you are able to save up on mana, and his abilities not being crucial, you will not need to use them during the battle. And whenever you need to heal, you can just easily switch to your healer, or if you see that you have enough mana stacked up, what I would do is to switch to Kroa and buff with his third skill like 2 times and switch him back so he could cycle those skills himself again, while Karambit just sits here, keeps basic attacking and just saves my mana. So yeah, for that part, that's about it, and now I'm gonna be jumping into the fight itself. So yeah, let me see where it starts. Yeah, so our team comp was this. So pretty much we have defense break covered, we have healers, more than enough of those. We have a few strips and enough damage for the dungeon. So now I'm gonna be covering all of the attacks that the boss deals. Okay, so while I do not know the exact technical terms for all of the skills, I'll just try to explain it in human terms, I guess, for what you will actually recognize in the battle. So first skill is actually this little ring attack, for what I like to call. Basically, the boss will shoot 3 rings. So first of all, it starts from the boss and goes towards the other side. Uh, then, following that, there will be another outer ring with a safe space in the middle, and after that there will be an even bigger range outer ring with the safe spells in the middle again. So what this attack does if it hits you is it applies level 3 bleed effect and knocks you back a little bit. While I did try to dodge these skills in the first place, I found that actually taking the hit from the inner part is not that dangerous, and if you can just pop a heal once everyone takes a hit, you can safely actually get the hit and continue fighting rather than keep dodging these from the outer side. Of course, if you are a little further from the monster, from the boss rather, if you're like around here while the first circle is moving, you can stand here and dodge it and move towards the inner part later on. But if you're already next to the boss, there's definitely no need to dodge this skill, as it definitely doesn't impact the gameplay that much. And moving further, there should be a next attack in like a few seconds. Yeah, this one, there will be either a red or a purple sort of, I don't even know what to call these rings charging, and both of these are pretty similar. They just vary in names, and they will be doing fixed damage to everyone on the field. They will be doing around 65% fixed damage, so as you can see, yeah, no matter how many HP you have, so for example, like my Light Howl and Tank and Cleave are super tanky, while my Karambit is only at like 30k HP, but all of them drop to around 35 to 36 HP. As you can see, the allies from my team as well also drop to 36 HP. Whenever this attack happens, the best thing to do is to pop 2 heals from your party. So I popped my ally Hal. I'm not sure who popped the other heal, but 2 heals are usually enough to heal up to full. And you should always, since that attack deals around 65% fixed damage, you should always strive to be at around 70% or higher HP at all times, so that attack doesn't kill you. But yeah, basically that attack only does AoE damage, and there's not much else to it. And the next attack will be the buff transfer. As you can see, it just happened. Yeah, so if you are a Cleave user, majority of the time the damage debuffs, not damage, the debuffs will be transferred to you. As you can see, every debuff that the boss had got transferred to my summoner. The best case is that it's transferred to a summoner if you are a Cleave, since you do have that Endure passive to fall back on. And once you receive the debuffs, try to cleanse them slowly over time. I found that the Light Howl is the most important healer for me, since I just need to cleanse the damage over times effects, so the burn, the bleed, and the frostbite. The rest of the effects are not that harmful per se, since they do not deal that constant damage. So if you do rock a Light Howl, you can cleanse the damage over time light way, and the rest of the debuffs will just go away over like 10 seconds. Yeah, as you can see, I just cleansed that, and because the damage they deal is quite a bit once stacked. And once the debuffs, or rather the damage over time is cleansed, the rest of the debuffs will eventually go away, as since the boss usually does not use any high damage abilities right after the transfer, it shouldn't be an issue in most cases. Okay, and now as you can see, the boss sort of goes back to the middle if it's not already in the middle, and will start launching these snakes. The goal of this phase is to try to dodge each snake from hitting you or your monsters. The main point about the snake is that if you do get hit by 3 or more snakes, you will get a permanent effect applied on you, which increases the cost of your skills by 1, and I believe it increases damage by 30% if I'm not wrong as well. And these debuffs cannot be removed, so if you do get them, the run will become extremely hard. So make sure to not get hit by 3 snakes in a wave at any time. And these are quite easy to dodge. The further you go away, the easier they are to dodge, of course, since there is more space between the snakes. But yeah, very self-explanatory skill, just keep dodging those cakes, there's not much to it. And going towards the next phase, let me see where it is. It should be at around 2055, so yeah, we'll just wait for a few seconds. Yeah, as you can see, she shot another one of those AoE abilities. This time was a purple one. I think they don't vary much other than the name. I think one is like burn and other one is like poison attack, but yeah, they don't have that much difference. Okay, and the forbidden spell attack is an attack which lands across the whole arena, and whenever you see that the forbidden spell is being used, the best thing to do is to group away very close to each other, since once this attack launches, you will be knocked back a lot and a lot of the units will turn into stone. And basically, as you can see, yeah, we grouped up quite nicely. What I mean by grouping up is you don't have to be exactly close to each other, but be in a parallel line to each other from the boss. That way you get knocked in the same direction, and it will be a little easier to manage the stone, what are called allies. And yeah, the boss will turn into a snake phase, sort of. And basically, the boss will now start attacking the units that have turned into stone. And with this, what you want to do is to actually be in the circle of the attack where they are attacking, and everyone should group up, since the more people are in the circle, the less damage will be spread overall. So that will ensure that uh, a lot of you will not die. I felt like I was a little scared to group up here at 40% HP, but as a glitch, of course, I do have the passive to fall back on, but even then it only did like 30% of my HP. And whenever she hits the units that are in the rock phase, they will wake up and you will be able to use their skills. So this will allow you to easily heal up to full when you're standing close to each other. And if after one attack all of your units have woken up, do not attack the snake phase, as she gets reduced damage and it's better to just run away from it. Especially since if it targets you as well, it will apply level 2 poison for each attack. As I had the immunity, it didn't for that phase, but yeah. Try to not fight her there and just keep running away from it. Oh yeah, and that little mini phase I also missed. This attack here, that little spinny attack with her tail, if you do get hit by it, it will deal pretty significant damage. I think for me it will like 50 to 60% of my max HP. And it will give you slowness, I believe, and knockback. So it's not deadly per se, but still try to not get hit by it, as it will just waste a heal that you will have to do. And the next attack will be at exactly 22. So does it say the attack name? Yeah, Kalia disappears. This is one of her phases where she will start entering one of these three rooms. So there's one there, there's one right around here, and there's one behind me. For this phase, basically she comes out of one of the rooms and has an attack that covers like 60% of the whole area. And basically, if you do get hit by it, you turn into the stone phase like with the previous attack. And your goal is to not get hit here. So the easiest way to dodge is to stand in the middle and always have 2 rooms in your vision. If you see that she does not come out of any of these 2 rooms, you can move forward, since that means she is coming out behind you. If you do see her come out of one of these rooms, you simply just dodge from that side and you'll be safe. As you can see, yeah, you dodge one, you look at all rooms, she appears on the right side. You can instantly move away to the left to avoid it. She will do this either 2 or 3 times. So for this phase, she did it 3 times. There were some times where she only did it twice. I'm not sure why the difference is there, but it is there. And yeah, other than that, it's just regular battle, and we'll move to the next phase. So these little blood pools, I missed one, but I'll do the next one. Yeah, and so the boss will shoot these blood pools, and each time you stand in them, every like second, you received a fixed amount of damage, which is like a few percent every second. And you will keep stacking the slowness effects, so this will make it super hard to dodge the incoming snakes. So whenever you see the blood pools, try to dodge away from them, as you can see, After this attack, I believe she will start shooting those snakes, and if you cannot cleanse the slowness, it will become very difficult to start dodging them. And yeah, one more thing I wanted to point out is that when she's around 25% HP, she'll start attacking you way more aggressively. So not only she will be in the middle, but she'll also start following you with her charge attacks as well. As you can see, she's doing the circle attack right next to you, and she'll start shooting those attacks more frequently, as well as try to follow you a bit more aggressively. So once you get her low, your best choice is to just nuke her down fast instead of trying to sustain it, as eventually you could run out of mana while doing so. So yeah, pretty much at this point we're just trying to nuke her down real quick. She uses quite a few of these circle attacks, but yeah, whether you dodge it or not is up to you. So yeah, as you can see, she used the blue. She will use the I think she will use the snakes. No, she does not. She doesn't seem to be using the snakes in this round. I mean, like, sometimes she uses them, sometimes she doesn't. The attack patterns in the end are quite random. And yeah, someone popped a VHL ultimate, which I actually missed, so I did use a lot of my mana on healing and stuff. And yeah, pretty much at the end, it's pretty easy at this point. We just nuke it down a bit. She did steal that immunity, which is annoying since she did cleanse the defense break. But yeah, other than that, the run is finished. You're receiving your beautiful rewards, which will probably be not what you expect, since I myself from all 3 runs only got runes. Looks like this person got super lucky with an item he can actually sell. But yeah, other than that, I hope you enjoyed and found this useful. Oh yeah, one more thing I wanted to mention quickly. You may not have seen this in my previous video, but for this boss, to get the power bonus, you will need 397,400 power, I believe. So it will be a little challenging to get, but you can always, of course, bring stronger units for the bonus and just swap them in the battle phase once you enter. It's a workaround, but of course, if you cannot reach that power, you may not be ready for the fight itself. But yeah, other than that, I'll see you in the next